In this video, I'm going to share you the exact market research data I review with my sales team and my clients to help us make winning decisions in real estate. This information is invaluable if you're planning to buy or sell a home this year. The key is to take this market data and apply it to your specific situation and goals. To book a free consultation about your plans and how to succeed in this market, just use the link to book directly into my calendar. It's right in the video description below. My name is Jeff Thibodeau. I'm a real estate broker with over 16 years experience here in my hometown of Brantford, Ontario. I make these market research videos to help you make smart decisions. If you get any value at all from this video, please take a second to hit that like button and leave me a comment. I read them all and I take the time to reply to them all. And remember, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that next month you get this market update right on your homepage and you can keep up to date about the local market conditions. The market can feel very confusing right now because there are actually several different markets happening simultaneously, each with unique conditions. Looking at the city overall, we can see that demand is at its lowest point in a decade, while inventory is at its highest point in a decade. Conditions like these should mean that the market is crashing, but prices have remained relatively stable. Over 40% of the homes are being sold at full price or higher, and almost 60% of the homes are being sold in under 30 days. So let's break down what's really going on so you have a better understanding of the Brantford real estate market. The median sale price in July was $590,000, down almost 5% just from June when it was $620,000. It also happened to be $620,000 last July, so that number also is down 5%. Now this chart shows the median price since 2020, and you can see that prices have been hovering around this $600,000 level for most of 2021, 2023, and this year. With the cost of borrowing coming down, it's a safe bet that this is just about as low as prices will go. We can expect that further improvements in mortgage rates will push demand higher, and that will push prices higher. Even the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation is predicting that prices will go up in 2025 and also potentially be back to 2022 peak levels by the next year in 2026. On this pricing chart, I like to zoom out even further. This one goes back to 2015, and you can see that anyone who's purchased a home prior to January 2021 is sitting on a nice equity gain. And that's the majority of properties here in Brantford. On this chart, I've also overlaid a line representing the standard kind of typical historical market appreciation that we saw from 2015 to 2019 before the market went all crazy. And if we extend this line from those times up until today, you can see that right now prices are about where they would have been if the market would have just continued on its typical pace without that boom and bust cycle. In July, 109 homes were sold in Brantford. That's down almost 15% from June and 8.5% lower than last year. This next chart shows seasonal demand for homes. It's clear how the demand for homes peaks in the spring and hits a low point each winter. You can also see how each year since 2021, it's been consecutively slower than the previous year. So far year to date, there have been 823 homes sold, which is 11.3% behind last year, which was already behind the year before that. Here I've extended this white line so you can see on the chart that demand for homes this year has been the lowest of any of the previous 9 years. The result of lower demand is that homes are going unsold every month, and the total number of homes for sale has been growing. Last month, there were 414 homes for sale on average. That's up 12.5% from the previous month and up a staggering 26% just from last year. That is a significant change in the inventory numbers. On this chart, you can see that the monthly inventory numbers are also at their highest levels since 2015. Now, when I put the number of sales on the same chart as the inventory levels, you can see the dramatic change in the market over the last couple of years. When the sales in red are higher than the inventory in gray, the market is extremely hot and fast moving. But when that flips and the gray bars are much taller than the red line, the market is much slower like we're experiencing right now. To really understand the market better, we need to break it down into different price ranges. Here you can see the number of sales last month in the different price ranges here in Brantford. You can see that 500 to 600,000 is the most active price range, and you can also see how the demand really starts to slow down at that $800,000 level and above. Now I can also show you this same breakdown for the homes that are up for sale on the market, and here it is in gray. So when I put the red bars over top of the gray bars, you can really start to see some differences in the market. Here's what I'm noticing. Under $600,000, it's still a strong seller's market. When we move up to between $600,000 and $800,000, the conditions become more balanced, but you can still see the demand is still pretty strong. But then we jump up from 800 to $1 million, and you can really start to see things slowing down here with the red bars significantly shrinking. And then over $1 million, it's clearly a buyer's market with a very small red bar compared to the very large gray bar. Now to dive even deeper into the data, I can plot every single sale on the chart and we can look at it in a couple different ways. This is every single home that was sold in July with the asking price along the bottom and the selling price up the side. The bold white line you're seeing represents homes that were sold right at the full price line. Now let me zoom in so we can see a little better, and we'll cut off all the activity over $1 million just so we can see more data here on the same chart. Now, all of the red dots that are above this white bold line are homes that sold over asking, and you can see there's quite a lot of them. The interesting thing that I can see is how they align on these vertical lines, which represent homes that were all priced at the same number but sold at different numbers. And we call this the 99 strategy. You can see it happening very clearly at $399,000, $499,000, $599,000, and $699,000. And then basically the strategy fizzles out because you don't see it happening at the higher price points. I can also see big clusters of sales happening between $500,000 and $600,000, and then another smaller cluster happening between $700,000 and $800,000. I've circled them here in the chart. Now, this chart is really helpful in planning your strategy. As a seller, we sit down and look to see what's actually working and who's winning. And as a buyer, it's important to look at this strategy chart and understand what type of market you're entering into so you can be prepared for it. Now, this next chart shows the strength of the offers at the different price points. And the main thing that I notice here is actually the homes that are selling under asking price. You can see that they're all kind of bunched up right below that 100% line between 96 and 99% of the asking price. The takeaway here is that sellers are not really giving away their homes for big discounts. When buyers are negotiating a deal, it's typically 1 to 4% under the asking price, in these price ranges. When we said before that 41% of all sales are happening at full price or better, and that typically happens because there's multiple people interested in the property at the same time. Now, the speed of the market is also still quite fast. This chart here shows the time to sell a home, and you can see the majority of all the sales are still new listings that have been on the market for under 30 days. There is another group right above them of homes that were selling in 30 to 60 days, but then you see above the 60-day line, the red dots become much more rare. In fact, 59% of all the sales are happening in under 30 days. So as a seller, you want to make sure you come to market right the first time. And as a buyer, you have to be ready to compete for those brand new listings, or you have to decide to go deal hunting on the properties 60 days plus on the market that other buyers have already overlooked. Now, this same chart in blue shows all the homes that are currently for sale. And you can see there are a lot of properties that have been on the market for a long time. In fact, I cut this chart off at 300 days on market, but there are homes that have been on the market significantly longer. This is problematic because the longer a home sits on the market, the less likely it will ever sell for anywhere near the asking price. Here I've overlaid all of the sales in red on top of the active listings in blue, and you can clearly see where the action is happening. That's the areas you see all the red dots, and you can see the action where it's not happening, where you can see the blue. So everywhere you can see the blue are parts of the market where there's tons of homes for sale, but not really any sales happening. And this is a big challenge for today's home seller. So given all this information, what do you do with it? Well, in general, as a seller, higher inventory means that you've got more competition for the buyer's attention. And the higher you move up the price points, the tougher the conditions become. You need a plan to do it right the first time if you want to get your home sold quickly and for the best price. Now, buyers, it's still quite competitive under $600,000, especially for the fresh new listings. But there are lots of transactions happening, so you just got to get out there and mix it up. Now, from $600,000 to $800,000, it's going to feel a little more balanced, although there is still quite a number of transactions happening. As we jump up to the next price bracket of $800,000 to $1 million, you're going to feel like you've got some more negotiating power and you can take your time finding the right home. And over $1 million, as a buyer, the power is really in your hands right now in Brantford. With more than 14 homes available for every one that sells, you have a ton of choice and negotiating power if you've got that type of money. Now, all indicators point to additional interest rate decreases from the Bank of Canada through the remainder of this year and 2025. As inflation returns to normal levels, the bank is turning its attention from fighting the inflation to potentially stimulating any slowdown in the economy to avoid a recession. As for interest rates, variable rates are already coming down, and we expect that to continue. Next, we want to see the fixed rates start to come down. Right now, a 5-year fixed rate mortgage is available anywhere from the mid to high 4s if you've got good credit. Now, historically, when 5-year fixed rates fall into the 3% range, it really starts to heat up the real estate market. When they fall below 2%, like they did in 2020 and 2021, the market just really goes crazy. We're not expecting it to get back to the sub 2% market anytime in the foreseeable future, but it's not unreasonable to think we will be back into the 3% range next year. Seasonally, there tends to be an increase in demand from about Labor Day to Thanksgiving every year, as buyers want to get those pre-Christmas deals done and lock in their moving dates before the winter. Then the market just systematically slows down both on the supply and demand side into a low point in December and January. All of this means that right now is probably the slowest we're going to see the real estate market in the foreseeable future. You know, the entry-level prices will continue to be a hot seller's market, and even as rates improve, that's only going to add more demand to this segment, and there's already an issue with supply. Now, the mid-level price points have just recently experienced their slowdown, and I think we're going to feel that kind of hang on for the remainder of the year and expect that kind of $600,000 to $1 million is a more balanced market. The $1 million plus market has been really tough all year. There is just a massive oversaturation in the number of homes for sale versus the number of buyers who have that kind of money to spend. As a seller, you're going to either need to accept the reality of the current market value of your home or be patient and wait for the energy to return to this price point. It might be a while. We might be talking end of next year, maybe into 2026 before there's that energy back in the $1 million price point here in Brantford. Now, for a personalized consultation about your unique situation, all you need to do is use the link in the video description to book directly into my calendar. I want you to go ahead and do that right now if you have any questions from this video. Thanks for watching. Please remember to hit that like button and leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe because I will be back very shortly with another local market update. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.